What up, y'all? I'm just here to film a quick video. So you're probably wondering why my angle is a little different. Well, as you can tell by the title, I got a new vehicle. So if you'd like to hear my story about my new car, definitely keep on watching. Alright, so welcome back. If you're tuning in, let me close my windows real quick. So anyways, I shared I got a new car yesterday. In no way, shape, or form do I want this video to come off as braggy, but I wanted to share my thoughts as to what I think about it. One, for anyone that might be thinking about getting this vehicle, and two, just, you know, what triggered us, myself and my husband, to move and make this move. Basically what happened is we used to own a 2015 Cadillac ATS. We were the first owners on that car, and it was one of those cars that it just happened because my brother actually worked there at the time. He was a salesperson there, and we happened to stop by. We were in the area. We actually were, excuse me, we had a 2010, I believe it was, Acura, we had a 2010 IS 250, and we're thinking about getting a newer model IS, and we had went to Lexus, which was catty corner to where the Cadillac dealership was, and they gave us not so great news. Long story short, ended up at Cadillac across the street since my brother was working, and before you know it, we walked out with a brand new Cadillac. It worked out at the time because it was the end of the year, closeout type model, and they were able to eat up a lot of the negative equity and basically get us into a brand new car. So fast forward 4 years later, love my Cadillac. Never had, well, I did have an issue. It was like a factory type recall issue that we had at one point, and I hope it's not too loud with the AC, but what ended up happening at the time is that it was repairable. But the one thing outside of the recall that we had was my car had rims and tires. It had 19-inch rims, and it had run flat tires. Now, if you don't know what a run flat tire is, it's basically a tire that's made so that if you are ever in a situation where your tire is supposed to go flat, the idea is that this tire will never go flat. I don't know that I trusted that or really believed it. Luckily, it never went flat. I had a situation where I thought it was, but the tow truck driver said I would have been fine. Still towed my car home because I didn't trust it. I'd been in an accident before regarding the flat, and so I've always been real paranoid. But the downer of these tires is that they are so expensive. I'm telling you, they run between $350 to $400 per tire. The other drawback is with rims came the issue of rims and bad roads here in California. So that triggered us to, what do we want to do? Because the front two tires were already in the process of, we had about maybe a month and a half left on them. They're already getting bald, just normal wear and tear on those. But we're talking in the matter of by the end of the year, we would be spending about $1,200 just in tires. That's not even including the back right one. So if you think about a whole new, brand new set, that'd be $1,600. Well, you're probably wondering, $1,600 versus a brand new car and getting in more debt. I'll go with $1,600. Yes, I thought about that. But at the same time, we also have a van that is a 2010. It's a mini van. It's a Mazda 5, so it's not like your typical average size van. But in addition to that, it's been a great van. Don't get me wrong. But our kids are getting bigger, like, you know, taller, and our little van was perfect when they were smaller and shorter. But we're just outgrowing that, if that makes sense. And I mean, we gotta be honest here. We're at about, I think he said about 175,000 miles on it, and you never know. Like, it could only be the matter of time. So my husband and I were talking about it. And, you know, we kind of played with the idea. Well, maybe we'll trade in our Cadillac, which I did not want to do, you guys. I cried yesterday when I went and got you know, trade in the car. But I also knew that it was for a good thing. My thing is, I've always been, I don't know, like, I've always felt like I stand out when it comes to my cars. Like, they either have rims or whatever. They're, you know, we try to make them, do them up, make them fancy, I guess. But for once in my life, I'm going to have a car that, like, everybody else has. I mean, everybody had an IS, really. Before my IS, I had my Mercedes E350. But you know what? I've been eyeballing these MDXs, you guys, since they first came out, like in 05. Like, I think that's the first generation, and I only know the year because my second son was born. He was little at the time, and I was still living in the north side of Sacramento. And so the reason I share that is because the MDX has always been a car that, like an SUV that I've loved, and I always said I would love to have this car. And actually, when we went and purchased our van, the only reason we even got our van is because I was pregnant with my daughter, and we had to get, like, we had two cars. We would not have anywhere we wouldn't fit. So we had no choice but to get something with enough seats to sit all six of us. And when we were getting our van, we were in that financial situation where, okay, we're going to need to pay for daycare, so we can't go crazy on a car payment. And actually, an MDX is what we had initially started with. Then we went down into the normal, like, vans, like the Honda Caravans or whatever they're called. But the Acura MDX at the time, for a $40,000 car payment versus having another car payment still, we just couldn't see ourselves doing that, plus daycare and mortgage and everything. So we didn't go with the MDX at that time. But we test drove it. I was like, oh, I would love to have this SUV. It just wasn't the right timing. So it's kind of funny because deep down I feel like I always knew I would get one of these. I also like the Lexus SUV, but I noticed that those don't have third row. We were like, well, we went to Kia. So we did. We stopped at Kia. We looked at Kia. And again, I love the car. It was really nice. And it was like the one with bells and whistles. I'm like, hey, I'm going to spend this much money, then I'm going to get all of it. But $50K plus any little negative that we still have on our car, I was like, no, that's just not worth it. So long story short, we were leaving Kia, and I was like, you know, we might just not, I don't know, like, let's just think about it. Then we saw an MDX drive by in the auto mall. And as it drove by, I told my husband, why don't we check out Acura? And he was like, yeah, we can if you want. And I'm like, I mean, we liked them back then. I don't see why that's not an option now. In my mind, I'm thinking they're still way out of our price range. So we go to Acura, and we actually saw used. I'm like, I'm not trying to go brand new. I want a used car, something that we're not going to be super in debt, you know, upside down on. Because obviously when you drive it off the lot, you go upside down immediately. It takes a hit. But they had one. It was 2017. It only had, like, I think barely 25,000 miles, if that. The inside was a brown color. And at first I wasn't a huge fan. But then I thought, you know what? That brown is called espresso, and as you all know, if you've watched my other videos, I love coffee, so it spoke to my coffee soul. So I thought, oh, that would be so cool. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get that one. I want that one. I'm like, that's it. I want that one. Like, I didn't even touch drive it yet. I already knew I wanted that one. Plus, it had like the tech package, so it just had these little accents. It just looked cool, and the price wasn't bad. They actually had it lower priced online. So I thought, well, we can do that. But then the next day, my husband, we told the guy we were interested, and so we didn't want to waste his time. It was already like 8 o'clock at night on Thursday when we stopped by. So my husband said he, would reach out to him. We'll think about it. And I have faith that I'm like, it's not a necessary thing for us to do right now. So in the end, if it works out, if they want to make it work, they'll make it work, So we do that. All I know is that the deal worked out great. The money off that they were doing off of the MSRP, the manufacturer retail suggested price, was enough to actually work in my favor, where it was enough to eat up the most, if not all, of the negative equity that I have from my Cadillac. So I said, well, hey, if you're able to make it work, then what's the problem? So let's just do it. So we did. We did have to put some money down, but the rebate, that ended up being like it was a larger down payment. So, it's one of those things that I guess you just call it a blessing in disguise. I didn't want to be picky and go for this, brand new, top of the line, nothing. I mean, this is the standard, so it's not like it's the super fancy one. I didn't want to be, obviously come up in a dealership all picky, but it's almost like when you're not picky that things actually end up working out in your favor. The fact that we were able to let him know kind of where we were, where we stood, where we wanted to be, kind of like it took the pressure off, because we weren't really it's not like we had to get this car. It just kind of, hey, if it works, it works. So the fact that we were able to make it work, and they were able to work the numbers, the finance person was super cool. They worked out, we even got the extended warranty, worked out in our favor. So, when it comes to a car deal, a lot of times they're going to do what they need to do. They could also say no, but we were in an okay situation, so I think that worked for them too. And just knowing it's an Acura, it's the same as a Honda. It'll be driving forever, and all of us fit. So if we go on trips or what have you, we all fit. So as far as what I love about it, obviously it's black interior, it's leather. Same with my Cadillac. The only drawback is this doesn't have the app with the remote start, so we plan on purchasing that later. It's an accessory, but we can get it later, in which we will. So a couple of pros that my Cadillac didn't have was the heated seats. Believe it or not, I lost that when I got my Cadillac. I was bummed because my Lexus had it. My Cadillac did not have a CD player, which this does. I know I had gotten rid of all my CDs. Not rid, but just like kind of they got lost away in the shuffle somewhere. Now I'm like, oh, I gotta go find CDs because I can actually play them. I still don't have the little sensor things in my mirrors, which I thought this had, but I'm guessing that's the upgraded technology package. I don't have automatic navigation, but it really doesn't matter because I didn't really use that in my Cadillac, because I just ended up using my phone anyway. So the cool part about this is this has Apple Play. So the Apple Play, when you plug into your phone, it automatically downloads into the screen. So it's as if you did have navigation, it's just through your phone. So it's really cool. So it's like you save yourself money on that. You don't have to get, and like even the salesperson said, plus navigation nowadays, it's super outdated anyway. You have to keep updating with the amount of houses they keep building around us. So it's not really beneficial to worry about paying for that if you don't really need it. What else? This is all-wheel drive. If we want to go to the snow, we can. It's funny, we always say, oh yeah, we can take it to the snow. Not like we go all the time, but it's cool to know you have it. Still have my sunroof top. Still have my Sirius radio. The one thing I'm noticing, I don't notice the sensors on this. This does have the auto brake and lane assist. I didn't have that with the Cadillac. That was in the newer Cadillacs. The Cadillac sensor on my backup camera and like all the sensors around were a lot more sensitive, unless this one doesn't have it. Either that or they're not as sensitive as the Cadillac, but I haven't been up close to anything and I don't want to. I don't plan to. But it is nice to have the lane assist and the brake assist, so it'll tell you to brake. I don't know, I guess you could say I was spoiled in my Cadillac, and so it's kind of pretty comparable to what I had. It's just bigger, newer, obviously. And my tires, obviously I love rims. My Cadillac had 19-inch rims for a car, and this one has 18-inch rims, and the tires are way thicker, so it makes the rim look that much smaller. All in all, I think I'm very happy. I just got to get used to it. now I blend in. I feel like we see these everywhere, so it won't be as easy to find me. Thanks so much everyone for watching. I know this video might be a little long, but I just wanted to share